Introducing X-Credi LP staking from industry-leading RWA loan collateralization platform Credify. Earn 10% cashback in USDT after 90 days, with more rewards coming soon for X-Credi holders. Visit v2.credify.finance.
What's up, fam? This is Jimmy. Hope you guys are all doing well. Exciting week for many reasons. Let me do a quick microphone check. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? Can you see me? And more importantly, can you see my chart? Can you see what I'm sharing? Okay, let's start immediately with the elephant in the room, elections. And what's going on with elections in the market? Let me keep this very, very simple. From a psychological perspective, often when there is uncertainty, market doesn't really like that. And uncertainty often comes after the election. So what I did is I plotted all these elections we had in the last 10 years. And it happens that 8 out of the 10 elections turned was not per se a trigger for the bull market, but often after the election we can see a steady uptrend. There are only 2 instances with this guy, with George W. Bush, this asshole who basically, when he was leading the country, it resulted in a big drop. And this was not like an ordinary drop. This was a 51% drop. In his second term, after a few months, we saw a similar drop. And from there, a very steady uptrend. As you guys might remember, also here with Donald Trump, a lot of people thought, okay, Trump is going to run the country. Likely we're gonna see a big drop and it's over because this guy is stupid and crazy. Not my words, but people who are actually against him, or people here in Europe. And what happened after the election? What happened? Or even better, before the election, there was no real direction. This was just ranging. And after the election, a very steady uptrend. And even with Biden, you can say whatever you want about Biden from a from market's perspective. After the election, what happened? A very steady uptrend. So I believe, based on data, based on what happened before, I believe after the election we might see some post-election volatility and noise, maybe some negative price action. But I'm pretty sure this will restore quite quickly and we're going to resume the upside. Why I'm showing you this on the S&P while I'm not trading the S&P? Well, I'm using the S&P as an indicator, to start with. And secondly, there's way more price action on the S&P than on Bitcoin. I can show you the Bitcoin chart in the election, but it's not really relevant. There are just a few data points, and I believe they are not that convincing. And having them on the S&P is way more relevant. So now, this is the election. Should we worry about the election? My answer is really no. Although I believe Kamala is not really that pro Bitcoin or crypto. Maybe Trump, he promised something, but again, politicians are there to promise you things. Politicians are not there to fulfill their promises. Politicians are there to promise you that they will come with promises, and if they fail, they will blame others. That's how politics work. That's how politicians are. Never ever trust a politician. I do not trust even one politician in this whole wide in this world. So I believe you should do the thinking for yourself and not them, and not 100% believe their promises. So let me go to the Bitcoin chart, and we're going to talk about the Bitcoin dominance, because there's something going on the market, and that's altcoins are suffering. Altcoins are suffering immensely, and I will tell you why this happens, and I will also tell you why I believe they will continue suffering in the next few weeks, and when I believe they might start to um, do a reversal. This is the Bitcoin Liquid Index, and it shows you price action since 2010. So there's a lot of price action. And this is a very simplistic um, cycle analysis. And what I did is very easy. I connected the lows with the lows, because that's how you actually do a cycle analysis. This is based on the principles of Hurst. If you don't know who he is, go look for Hurst. Hurst market cycles. Type it in. He is the guru. There are a lot of people using his work and claiming that their work is that without giving Hurst any credits. Hurst was one of the few guys who came up with cycle analysis, and back in his time, he was using NASA. He was working for at the NASA for the NASA. He was using NASA computing power to work on market analysis and cycle analysis. A key observation you will see here, actually three. One, from the cycle low to the cycle low, so to go through the entire cycle, it takes Bitcoin 1,420 days ish, more or less. 120 days to go from one cycle low to the other cycle low. For example, here in 2015, all the way to the low of January 2019, it took Bitcoin 1,430 days. And from this low all the way to this low we had in 2020, it took Bitcoin 1,030 days to travel all the way from that one low to the other low. That's one key observation. The other key observation is the time duration that Bitcoin needs to travel from the cycle low to the cycle high. And that's not the complete cycle, right? Like the cycle is always like from the low to the low. What you can do, you can measure how many days it normally takes to go from the cycle low to the cycle high. And it's around 1,064 days. We have seen it here, we have seen it here, we might see it here as well. And if this happens, and if this plays out as it played out previously, we might see an end of this cycle somewhere in Q3, or maybe even Q4, maybe even Q2. Nobody knows, but that's approximately the time horizon I'm watching. And I believe if we're going to see a altcoin rally or alt season, I do not want to shatter your dreams and your hopes, but I do not believe we're going to see a long lasting multi quarter alt season. I think these time are these things will not appear for a few reasons, and I will go through them one by one. Let's start with uh, let's go to the very most ugliest chart for the bulls who are fully positioned in altcoins. What you see here, and not so many people are showing you this, and I want you to copy this from me. I want you, this is an invite. Copy this chart from me. If you want, you can you can do it as if this was your idea. You can claim the credits for this. This is the Bitcoin dominance without stables and without Ethereum. And as we speak, the Bitcoin dominance right now is 75.7%. 75.7%. That's huge. And now ask yourself, if you see such a chart, imagine this is a 1 day chart. This is Bitcoin or any coin or gold for that matter. Would you short this or long this? Look how many times it tapped here into this so-called resistance zone. Here, 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 and this consolidation, and it broke out. Would you short or long this? And be honest, do not look at the ticker. This is ticker symbol bias. Often when people are checking a ticker, they will form a bias and they will force that bias on the chart. When I do scan the market, I do have a, this is trading psychology tip, by the way. When I have a list, and for example, uh, let me open one of my lists. This is all the pairs on Apex. I do not check the symbol. I'm not checking the ticker at all. No, what I'm doing, I'm having my filters. For example, you could use anything, 21 EMA, or I rather prefer to use, for example, the 12-hour trailer on the Burbicator Pro. I do not check the ticker at all. I check price action. If I like it, then I look at the ticker, and then I'm gonna make a conclusion, and then I'm gonna basically decide, okay, this is something I'm gonna skip or long or short, or I'm gonna add it to my watch list. Not the other way around. Never ever check a ticker and then applying TA on something. Always open a chart once you have filtered things out. For example, a way how you can filter out things is you only want to focus on charts and or assets that are trading above the 50 MA on the 12-hour, or the 1 day for that matter. And then you can create your list based on your parameters, based on your rules, and then go through them without checking the symbol. Symbol creates bias. I call this a ticker symbol bias. Okay, I think I'm digressing a little bit here. I want to circle back to this very ugly chart and ask yourself again, is this something you want to short or to long? If I see this, I do not want to short this. Sorry, I do not want to. Yeah, I do not want to short this. This is something you're actually trading against the trend. What's the trend? Well, it's very obvious. The Bitcoin dominance is rising, and it broke out here from this so-called resistance. And of course, this is a meme chart. You cannot actually trade this. However, it does give you a lot of valuable insight. You can use that insight to rebalance, or to to reconsider your position, your portfolio. We have a question from Drew, and I see a lot of legends here. And by the way, guys, if you hear me, make some noise. I see 1,000 people watching this live stream. Make some noise. Say something nice or not some nice. I don't care, but just make some noise. I like noise. Okay, this is definitely something I do not want to short. This is the Bitcoin dominance again, without stables, without Ethereum. If you're smart, copy this. Copy this. I just shared this here in the chat. Copy this and open TradingView, symbol search, add this, and you will get this exact same chart. Maybe not the same colors, but the same data. And now, I want you to see something. I want you to see the halving here on this chart, and I'm going to plot the halving. Often, and very often, after the halving, it takes around 250 days before the dominance really drops. And we have seen this on the other dominance charts as well. What do you see here? This is the Bitcoin dominance without stables, what I refer to a pure dominance. This is a rising wedge. We had a rising wedge. We had a bearish divergence. Eventually, that bearish divergence was cancelled, was invalidated because the oscillators were making higher highs, and a rising wedge normally gives you a what? A bearish thesis. It gives you like bearish thinking. But a rising wedge can turn into a what we call a running wedge. Means it gives you bearish thesis, but still it breaks out to the upside, and it happens. If you go to Belovsky's work, a rising wedge can go both ways, obviously. But if it goes the other way and it plays out, it will play. It plays quite beautifully out. I am a big fan of playing falling wedges, rising wedges. This is not something also that I want to short. I do not want to short something that broke out from a rising wedge. Again, the dominance here sits on 65.1%. Again, this is without stables, without USDT, without DAI, without USDC, nothing. This is what I call the pure dominance. And now we're going to go to the most interesting, what I call the interesting part of this live stream. Look, the orange lines you're seeing here are the halving events. This second halving, third halving, fourth halving. Again, we see here the same thing. We see the rising wedge, and this is the normal Bitcoin dominance, which includes stables, which I believe is less accurate. But from a data point, I rather want to focus now on this one, since this one captures data since April 2024. After the second halving, as you guys can see here, it took Bitcoin more or less 250 days-ish before the dominance dropped. And this here, this was basically your alt season, the real alt season. Here, exactly the same thing. Around 260, 250 day-ish, we got here a drop. This, ladies and gentlemen, was your what? This was your alt season. This was your alt season. And I want you to focus on the time. How long did this last before the dominance was actually not dropping anymore? Not that long. If you really measure from the top to the all like to the bottom, 133 days, 19 weeks, 1-9. That was actually your alt season. I believe we're going to see something similar. I do not believe in a multi-year alt season. I can sell you hopium, I can sell you dreams, but that's not the way how I'm going to play it. I believe if we're going to see a altcoin rally, it's going to be very short-lived. Maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months if we're happy, if we are lucky. Of course, you want to play the charts, not your own thought process and your predictions. Look, if this plays out, then we might see altcoin getting strength again at the end of this year or next year, Q1. And that's also when I am going to rotate from my Bitcoin into altcoins, because I believe now rotating into Bitcoin, into alts is a big risk, because I'm actually fading all this different data points I shared with you. The dominance is very strong. You do not want to fade that dominance. You want to wait patiently. And I know for a fact a lot of people have been losing a lot of money because they have this false notion that Bitcoin doesn't make you rich. Well, I'm going to tell you this: not having Bitcoin is actually making you poor, because most of the altcoin traders or hodlers, they lost a lot of value, not only USDT, but also in Bitcoin, in Satoshi value. It dropped significantly. Almost nothing outperformed Bitcoin this year. And there's a good reason for this. You're going to hate it or not, but there is a institutional big buying appetite when it comes to Bitcoin. This here represents how much money, how much Bitcoin BlackRock really has. 434,000 Bitcoins, which represents this amount of money, almost, let's say, 29.5 billion. You know how much money BlackRock has asset under management? Asset under management is 10.5 trillion. Think about it. One 10.5 trillion, 10.5 trillion. That's the asset under management BlackRock, BlackRock's asset under management. And only 0.3%, 0.3% is in Bitcoin, is in their Bitcoin spot ETF. 0.3%. That's huge if you think about it. Since January of this year, since the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs, there's a lot of buying appetite. States, big retail investors, institutions are all buying Bitcoin. And they have zero interest in our silly altcoins. Honestly, this is a public website. You can visit this. Bitcoin holdings in publicly traded and private companies, ETFs, in countries. 2.6 million Bitcoins are in the hands of ETFs, countries, publicly traded and private companies. 2.6. This is 12.3% of the entire Bitcoin supply. But I'm going to tell you something. Although the current circulating supply, since it's now here on 19.8 million Bitcoins, you need to remember and remind yourself that 1 million Bitcoins already locked up, Satoshi's Bitcoins. And then there are 2 million other Bitcoins. They are basically lost because they lost the seed phrase. They cannot access anymore. These are basically the dead Bitcoins. So if you, from that angle, 16.8 million Bitcoins, that might be the real supply, current supply are there. And from them, 2.6 million are in the hands of what? Are in the hands of institutions. They will never ever rotate this. They might sell this, but they never ever going to rotate this into altcoins. That's the reason why we see a rising Bitcoin dominance right now. The Bitcoin that could be swapped or converted into altcoins are those who both Bitcoin quite cheap and are willing to take the risk. I believe this time will come, but I do not believe in this classical um, uh, um, uh, outdated model where money will flow into Bitcoin and then Ethereum and then the high caps, the major caps, the alt. I think this model is outdated. And I think this year has really confirmed that this model is outdated. Only memes did really well. At the beginning of the year, AI and real world asset category coins did very well. I believe in the next few months, certain categories will do very well, some ecosystems, but I do not believe in a full blown altcoin rally. I'm a big fan of Chris. He's our fundamental analyst. He shared a long, good list with coins with real fundamentals and fundamentals. We have a few traders who are really into the memes. I also believe that memes are here to stay, and there's still a lot of money to be made in memes. But I really do not believe in this old model that money will flow into every category in all these different high caps and small caps. I think this is really outdated. Do we have questions? Do we have questions? I just want to know. The rising wedge, I think you're referring to this one. Yeah, it's often you see, for example, here this is just a breakout, even though this was um, sideways. This is a breakout of this rising wedge. Rising wedge gives you again bearish thesis. It turns out to be bullish for the Bitcoin dominance. Thus, we call it a running wedge, and this could easily go even higher. And while altcoins are still suffering, maybe a little bit in USDT value, but especially in Bitcoin value. Also, I rather prefer now really to long Bitcoin than long Bitcoin at resistance later, if it comes back to around 73K, than buying altcoins at support. Oh, as crazy as it sounds, I believe the more upside for the short term is really Bitcoin. Money will flow eventually into some other altcoins, but I do not believe that that time is now. Do never ever expect a small move when it comes to breakout after a consolidation of many months. Um, I shared this a while ago. Look the similarities between 2023 and 2024. Squeeze in a maze, squeeze in a maze. Reclaimed point of control, reclaimed point of control. This was the first attempt to revisit the range high. This still looks long. Elections, just really noise. Just you want to trade when you're a position trader, high time frame, just focus really on the charts. Elections are not going to make the difference. It's all about liquidity and stability. A breakout from a multi-month range rarely leads to a small move, and it rarely leads to give side people who are on the sideline a entry. I do not believe this. I believe if we're gonna see a breakout, we're gonna see something here, a strong, volatile, very aggressive breakout without other people, traders, giving an entry. So they just need to buy with while things are pumping. Not the ideal situation, I believe. I rather prefer to buy now than waiting for that breakout. Honestly, although having the breakout is actually confirmation that things will continue going up. Sometimes you need to think a little bit different from the rest. As for targets, if Bitcoin breaks out from this range, there are actually a few things you could do. You could use like the Fibonacci again. My chart is on logarithmic, so if you do logarithmic, if you use logarithmic, you could. I think you should use your Fibs also on logarithmic, which brings me to a potential target of 95K. This was like the Japan FUT candle. So you could see it as an anomaly. So you could adjust your Fibs from this wick to all the way to this wick, which brings you here to 90K. So 90K would be very logical level once Bitcoin is breaking out from this range. Another way you could apply this is like the more like the traditional way. Measure the distance, add it on top of the range, and this brings you around 103K. I believe 103K is definitely not impossible for Bitcoin, especially not after such a long, big uh, consolidation. The bigger the consolidation, the bigger the base, the stronger the price action. Another thing you could do is like just copy this all the way here. Oh, let me see where this brings us. This could bring us to even like 145K. My ideal strategy to find like the next potential top. Wait, let me go to a chart with way more price action. Is using the Fibonacci extension here from the high all the way to the low, the cycle high, in September, October, if this, the cycle analysis plays out as I showed, could bring us to 175K. This methodology perfectly worked as well with determining this top here. Again, this will just give you thought, right? This will just give you a glimpse of a potential how far Bitcoin could go. Never ever 100% rely on that. But here again, also, it brought this all the way here. You do not want to aim for perfection. Of course, smart people who are using this, they will try to front run people who want to take profit at this level. Who do we what other do we have any other questions, guys, before we're gonna wrap this up? Oh yeah, another thing, Ethereum, probably the most hated chart. That's annoying. I prepared something and it's gone. Let me see if I can find it back. Okay, never mind. To see if something is in a more bullish or in bearish territory, use the FIPS. This is the 2-week. This here is definitely not something you want to buy, since the RSI is in general below the 50 level. The same can be said here. This is not really a thing where you want to buy. You want to buy when it's goes, crosses the 50 level. This here, exactly the same thing. Do not expect good things from coins that are trading where the RSI is hovering or trading or moving below the 50 level. On the weekly, you could apply this methodology, but also on the 2-week, especially on the 2-week. Here you can see exactly the same thing. Good things are happening when things are trading above their 50 or their 50 level, the midline. Very easy strategy. This gives what? Clarity. Okay. For me to flip bullish on Ethereum is basically the proxy for altcoin health, I would say. If it crosses the 50 level, that would be really good. What we shouldn't ignore is this on Ethereum. Let me go maybe to this chart, to the weekly. Yeah, here it is. You see this? You could consider this also like as another bearish retest. It couldn't cross the 50 level. Don't only focus on price action. And those who are saying oscillators are nonsense, don't use them. Those really, probably they don't have any CMT background or real professional trading background. Maybe some of them have, but oscillators definitely can help. As they basically, what they actually do is they cancel a lot out of the noise. Sometimes I rather prefer to trade the RSI breakout rather than the price breakout. This is the Bitcoin. This is Ethereum. Sorry, this was a very beautiful rising wedge. Tested it here. Tested it here. We do not want to see Ethereum trading below this level, because then it would trade back where it was consolidating for a long time in the form of a ascending wedge. It was consolidating here for how much was it again? 567 days. That's a long time. Also, if we go here to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin. I marked here my level. This was my first point of interest. Look how quickly it pierced through this level, just like a shitcoin. And this is just not a random level. This is a legit SNR level 3,170 days. 3,170 days. It just quickly appears here through it. It could be ideally a you could see like a, I wouldn't really call this like a swing failure pattern, but still we could get something similar like a swing failure pattern, giving us like the bearish thesis and then up it goes. But no way I'm interested in buying or longing Ethereum here, especially against Bitcoin. As you guys know, the real money is now in Bitcoin, and those who are not in Bitcoin um, probably going to suffer a little bit more because this is actually my TLDR. This is actually my game plan. Uh, when I share my game plan on the high time frame, don't expect me to change very quickly from. Don't think I'm gonna invalidate my thesis very quickly. There needs to happen something to invalidate my thesis. My thesis is very simple: halving 20 to 25 days of basically no change or no drop in the halving and then a big drop. That was your alt season. Here the same. This was your alt season for 130 days. From here to here, that's 130 days. For those, most of the people before the dominance will drop for a few weeks before they're gonna notice that the dominant that there's a lot of strength kicking in into some altcoins. If it's going to play out as the same as these two events, again, the yellow lines represents what? The halving events. Then we might see in, altcoins gaining strength again in Q1, maybe end Q4. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not really interested to build now positions. I rather want to wait. When am I invalidated? Well, when we see really strength kicking in alts, into Ethereum, into Solana, into some big layer ones with big ecosystems, then I gonna change my plan. But as of now, the trend is your friend till the very end, and I want to wait till the end. And I believe Q1, early Q1 or late Q4 might be the end of a very aggressive Bitcoin dominance. We have here a question, and this is the last question before I gonna call this a beautiful live stream. And by the way, guys, if you enjoyed this, drop a like and share this with your friends. If you did not like this, that's possible. Then the question is, what the hell are you doing here? And drop that comment what you're doing here. Anyways, drop a comment, share this with your friend. If you're watching this on Twitter, repost this. That's at least like the last thing you could do for me. Jimmy, I sometimes see that Ethereum dips, but alts are others rise a bit as it's doing right now. Shouldn't Ethereum dip mean alts dip too? Or it's different this cycle? You know what it is? I think we should have like this um ticker that combines like the total market cap of memes. Not sure if this is already possible on TradingView, but there's a lot of money flowing into these memes. And I think that's why this cycle is quite different. It's also because of institutional buying appetite. Um, for now, as I said, I do not want to fake memes. Memes is probably very good to have in your portfolio, but you really want to sell them. You don't want to carry them into the next cycle. Definitely not. Hope I answered your question, Robin. If not, let me know. Okay, guys, TLDR, Bitcoin dominance. I'm not buying alts. Maybe I'm trading them, not buying them. I'm gonna wait until I see some weakness, as we have seen here. 250 days after the halving, 250 days after the halving. Here, probably also 250 days after the halving. Hopefully, we need to wait and see what will happen at the end of Q4 or start of Q1. Ethereum looks actually really like a shitcoin. Both Ethereum, Bitcoin, but also normal Ethereum or Ethereum against USDT. Again, do not expect good things when RSI is trading below below the 50 level. Okay, Do not expect that from any coin, especially not Ethereum. We want Ethereum to prove itself. It needs to reclaim at least this 50 level. And like another way, what you could do is have that trend line. Not sure why this is black. It shouldn't be black. It should be. Let's do this a little bit thicker. How many of you guys know that you can apply trend lines on RSI? This should be on lock skill. Oh, now I've screwed it up. Okay. Okay. What you want to see is at least a breakout of this RSI trend line. So this could be your first trigger. This could be, going through this 50 level could be your confirmation. I know we're not that far away, but if you look to the trajectory of this RSI right now here, it isn't bullish. I want to see confirmation on the RSI on the Ethereum USDT chart. Okay, guys. Wait, there's one question from Drew. If it isn't a too complicated, difficult question, then I might not. Have you taken a look at the divergence taking place using the P-cycle top indicator? Possible sign we could be heading into another huge dip like in early 2020? No, not really. I do sometimes use it as a form of confluence. It's really nice to have. This is definitely something I want to rely on. I did a video on that about my selling strategy. You can find this on YouTube. Go to the Burpnest YouTube. Like there's a dedicated playlist for this. Okay, folks. A few things. Bitcoin dominance. Don't fade the trend. Secondly, I haven't mentioned this, but as you can see here on the screen, we're gonna organize a trading congress. Like this is like a big, huge trading event with Crypto Burp, with the Burpnest, with a lot of chats. We're gonna invite industry leaders, and we're gonna spoil all our followers because they're gonna have 1 or maybe even 2 weeks free access to our Discord community where we share actively calls, trade setups, scalps, swing trades, position trades. Airdrops, DeFi calls, you name it, we have it all for free for 2 weeks long. Really, there's nothing. You won't pay anything. We don't need credit card details. We just want you to have a lot of fun with us, with the community. This will happen very soon, so stay tuned. I think you can already join the watch list. So what you want to do is you want to see the description for more information. So that's the second thing I want to say. And thirdly is, if you watch this video and you found it beneficial, I'm actually sharing here things not so many are sharing here with you. So appreciate me as I am appreciating you. Hit that like button, share this with your friend. Until the next time, see you around.